like a whiskey and possibly a soda bottle. You can see the soil's changed color down here. I believe this could be an old outhouse pit. If you went to the bottling works or a neighboring business, that color is amazing. I'm at the ghost town of Omemee, North Dakota, standing near where the Carey Bottling Works once stood. The bottling operation was started just before World War I and didn't last long. I got permission to excavate the grounds in search of artifacts, so we'll take a walk around and see what's going on. The bottling works stood up toward those trees. There's fragments of the soda bottles all over this place. Back here, towards the end of the lot, you'll notice a sunken area. I pushed a probe rod through the ground. I hit what felt to be a bunch of glass, possibly some stove ashes. That's a good indicator of an early site. We'll get this thing opened up. I think we're in it. We're down roughly a foot, all kinds of glass. Can barely get my trowel through the ground. Saw this beautiful green color. It looks crude. You can see there's just all kinds of glass around here. The ground's actually a little frozen. We had some frost earlier. I think this thing's English. You know, it's got a machine mark on it. Usually these English-made bottles were a bit cruder than the American ones during that time. I'd put this at about 1910. Look at all the stuff down here. Oh, it looks like a old whiskey bottle. That's a quart of whiskey. Early machine made. It might actually still have some whiskey in it. It's probably watered down. Look at all this stuff. All right, looks like a tool top bottle. That's an extract. You can see remnants of a paper label. It was likely vanilla or something along those lines. These are all kind of wedged in here. I don't want to break anything. Let's see. Oh, it's like a machine-made crown top beer bottle. You know, that puts this specifically from 1910 to 1920. Still some remnants of a paper label on this one as well. I have another one of these English things. All right, a little juice bottle. Let's see. There was all kinds of brands making this juice back in the day. Okay, the Cleveland Fruit Juice Company. I've dug a ton of these over the years. There was also Welch's and Royal Purple that sold similar products. I'm amazed at how packed this pit is. Looks like another extract bottle. Tooled top, so we're close to that 1910 era. Looks like a whiskey and possibly a soda bottle. You can see the soil's changed color down here. I believe this could be an old outhouse pit. If you went to the bottling works or a neighboring business, that color is amazing. Another one of these machine-made English whiskey bottles. That color is something else, like a deep forest green. What do we have here? The Empire Brewing Company, Brandon, Manitoba. Wow. It's not often we get Canadian bottles down here, and this is an early machine-made piece. I'd put this thing at about 1910. Look at all this stuff. Looks like a tooled top beer. Huh, yeah, no markings on this thing. That's unusual. Usually there's at least a marking on the bottom. Everything's just stacked in here. Another tooled top beer. Okay, this one's made by the American Bottling Company. They made a ton of beer bottles back in the day. I'd put this thing at about 1905, 1910. Huh. What's going on with this thing? It's a tooled crown top. I've never seen one of these before. Armours. Okay. I think it's an Armour packing company. Can't say for sure. Looks like there's remnants of a paper label there. This almost resembles an ink or some kind of stationery product. Another extract bottle. I'm amazed at how well the ground's been preserving these labels. This one's almost legible. You can see some kind of pattern on it. Okay, there we go. AB connected mark. This was only used for a few years in the early 1900s. This thing has a tooled top. These things are never embossed. Was likely an old beer bottle. Here we go. Pure vanilla. The something company, looks like possibly Chicago, Illinois. Look at that label. It never ceases to amaze me how well the ground can preserve things like this. Vanilla extract. Into a solid use layer here. These bottles are stacked. Rex beer. Duluth. Oh wow. So Minnesota beer. You can see Rex on the shoulder. And on the back side, Duluth. That's a long ways from home. Would have had a paper label on it, circa 1910. And a tooled top beer. No embossing on this one either. So yeah, this is again circa 1910. See a paper label. Maybe we'll get something intact. So another tooled top. WF&S Milwaukee on the bottom. That's the William Franzen and Sons Glassworks. They made a ton of beer bottles back in the day. Remnants of a paper label, but it's too far gone. Hennepin Brewing Company, Minneapolis. So it's broken, but I've actually dug some of these before. Yeah, these are pre-prohibition for sure, that 1910 to 1920 range. And another beer bottle. I'm amazed at how many of these things are here. I'm wondering if this could actually predate the bottling works. Maybe there was a saloon being run out of the building at the time. Down in the depths here, looks like a couple extract bottles. Tooled top, no embossing. And another. Now there's definitely some baking going on here, or possibly drinking. These had similar alcohol content to whiskey. Look at all this stuff down here. It's like a tool top beer, another one of those AB connected marks, no other markings on it. Oh, Heilemann. Yeah, the Heilemann Brewing Company from La Crosse, Wisconsin. You can see it embossed on the shoulder there. This is a machine-made piece. I'd put this at 1910 to 1920. And another extract. I'd say there's an above average amount of these things in here, no embossing on it. And another beer. Yeah, early machine made, 1910 to 1920. This thing's just stacked. I can't even get my trowel to the ground. Another beer. So I'm finding a lot of like tool top and machine made stuff. This is that crossover era. The automatic bottle machine was in use by about 1910, so right around that era. And another machine made crown top beer. Okay, here's an intact, a tool top Hennepin Brewing Company. You can see the embossing there on the shoulder. I don't know if I've ever dug a tool top example. Definitely the earliest one I've seen. And a tooled crown top beer made by the William Franzen Sun Glass Works of Milwaukee. I haven't found the bottom or the sides yet. That's a good sign. The pit continues. Another tooled top beer bottle made by the William Franzen and Sons. Oh, these plates. I was pulling up fragments of these things. What's going on there? WM Company, Arno. You can see there's that back stamp on it. It's got kind of a cool pattern. Looks like some kind of almost rope design on it, a nice color. There's all kinds of pieces of these things. It's a semi-porcelain there. Maybe I'll be able to piece some of these back together. Got something big. Looks like could be a canning jar. It's got a bale top on it. It's full of water. What's going on with that? That's machine made. That's packed full of groundwater. I'd imagine this is World War I era, maybe a little earlier. I think it's got a ground lip actually. Oh wow, some kind of liquor flask. That's an earlier style. It's got some great color to it. The top's knocked off, but that could have been a Mikado, something along those lines. All this blue. That is beautiful. Look at that. That's a genuine flow blue there. This is likely English made. Could be an Abbey pattern. I've seen something similar, but that's likely pre-1900. Oh, looks like some kind of pickled goods container. Early machine-made piece. The wide top could have held capers, something along those lines. And another preserved bottle. No embossing on this thing either. It's got a threaded cap though. That's got to be one of the earlier ones. Probably circa 1905, 1910. Wow. What do we have here? KT&K. Okay, semi-vitreous. So that's Knowles, Taylor and Knowles. They were an American pottery company and made a lot of utility ware and also some semi-porcelain pieces. The pit's all finished up. Everything dated back to about 1910. I'm certain this predated the bottling works. It almost looks like some kind of saloon type setting with all the beer bottles. Got a canning jar, some pickled goods, a juice bottle, some whiskeys, stationery, maybe a soda or a beer. All those quart beer bottles, semi-porcelain pieces, broken liquor flask, and some extracts. All in all, it wasn't too bad. And there you have it. We'll get this thing filled back in. The back of the pool hall stood about where the edge of those trees are. The building was built of bricks. There's actually still a brick pile in there. Right out back here, towards the end of the lot, you'll see a sink spot. I kicked some marks in the ground. I probed this out. I hit some objects, some compaction differences, and possibly some stove ashes. That's a good indicator of an early site. We'll get this thing opened up. We're down into some kind of layer, but getting there was a complete disaster. We had to dig through all this metal, some bricks. There's buckets, carriage parts. It's like a can of lead-based paint. But down here, there's all kinds of bottles. We've loosened a few of them up, and this clay has been hard packed. It's just been a really difficult excavation. Look at that. The age is right. This was made by the William Franzen and Sons Glassworks. This dates back to about 1905, so it's roughly 115 years old. All kinds of broken prescription bottles here. There we go. That's a Crown Oval or a Dakota Oval, depending on what glassworks it was ordered from. That's the same era, circa 1905. And another. These held prescriptions from the local drugstore, likely. Look at all this stuff. And another. No markings on this one either. It's filled with groundwater. Looks like a chemical type bottle. Yeah, there it is. PD and Company. That's Park Davis. They had a major pharmaceutical supply outlet based out of Detroit, Michigan. This one's been trying to fall out for a while. Let's see. Some kind of extract or medicine. Looks like it's made by the Illinois Glass Company. This one's a little newer, but it's in the cap layer. Maybe 10 years newer than the other stuff. Wow. Look like prescriptions of some sort. Kind of all wedged in here. Gotta be careful so I don't break something. They're everywhere. Another crown oval, Dakota oval of some sort. Looks like it still has some content stain in it. Oh. And another. And another. I'm wondering if someone at the establishment suffered from some kind of medical condition. Could have been a drugstore or doctor's office was here as well. And another. Must have been some popular stuff. No markings on this one either. Oh, here we go. Victor Oval. It's got a reinforced lip and graduations on the front. That puts this somewhere between 1908 and 1916. Huh. And another prescription bottle. I don't think this one's a crown oval. Something I'm not sure I've seen before. It's from that same era though, circa 1905. This pit might not be very deep, but it seems wide, and there's plenty thrown on bottom. Let's see. Looks like another prescription bottle. Soil down here is hard packed, makes working a nightmare. Another crown oval. And another. You know, I've never seen embossing on these things. And another. This one's stuck behind a root. Might be a couple things back here. This one's got some markings on the side. Actually, this one isn't a crown oval. It's a unusual style. Still that circa 1905 date range though. Huh. That's unusual. Looks like the lid to something that's brass. Could have been a jewelry box or a spice container even. I think I found a side to this thing. Looks like a couple more prescription bottles. This ground is so hard packed though, it's just been a nightmare digging through. Huh. Yeah, another blank crown oval. And another. Yeah, got some crude bubbles in it. Kind of cool. I found the bottom and the sides, I believe. It's hard-packed clay. There's 2 bottles left. I'm willing to bet I know what they are. Another crown oval. And another. There you have it. I think this pit is done. Here's the haul. Everything dated back to about 1905. It was interesting, the trash layer above leads me to believe this pit was in use for a short time and then left open for a while and filled with trash. Got a chemical bottle, an extract, a bunch of prescriptions, and a beer. It was a small pit, but it was a fun dig. We'll get this thing filled back in.